So what if I told you that South Africa is in the middle of a gold rush and most of us can't see it? You see, across the country, abandoned mine shafts are buzzing now, not under company logos or stock exchange listings, but under the control of syndicates running a parallel gold economy. You see, industry estimates suggest that as much as a third of the gold in this country is moving outside the legal system, extracted, traded, and quietly folded back into the global markets as if nothing happened. So here's how it works. Informal miners known as zama-zamas dig the gold out of abandoned shafts, but they're just the front line. Syndicates then take the ore, run it through illegal washing plants and smelters, and then mix it in with the legitimate supply. So it's almost impossible to tell the difference. From there, it moves through normal transport routes and into formal refineries. And so by the time gold reaches international buyers, it looks completely legal. And with gold prices near record highs at the moment, the incentive to keep the pipeline flowing is obvious. Now, government had tried to slam the brakes. You see, Operation Vala Umgodi brought in police, soldiers, and a R1 billion budget. More than 28,000 arrests followed, hundreds of firearms seized. But when the funding ran out in late 2025, the operation was wound down and the shafts filled back up again. Police admit that weak laws and low conviction rates means that the rest didn't always stick. And so the raids made a lot of noise, but the system simply absorbed the shock. Now, more than 450 soldiers are being deployed to stabilize hotspots in Gauteng, where syndicates are heavily armed and entire communities have been displaced. But here's the tension. You see, you can raid a shaft, you can arrest a miner, but what's harder is dismantling an entire supply chain that runs from underground tunnels to global markets. And so, no, this isn't just a crime problem, it's an invisible economy. And it's thriving in one of South Africa's most historic industries. So if you've ever relied on Telegram for news updates, crypto channels, or community groups, you've used one of the most politically contested apps on earth. You see, Russia has opened up a criminal case against its founder, Pavel Durov, accusing him of assisting terrorist activities. In a report published by a government newspaper, Russia's security agency claims that the app is being used by Ukraine forces, Western allies, and extremist groups in ways that threaten Russia's security. Now, this isn't Durov's first run-in with authorities. You see, he left Russia in 2014 after refusing to shut down opposition communities on his previous platform, VK. In 2024, he was detained in France as part of a separate investigation into alleged criminal activity on Telegram, though he was later released as that case continues. Now, throughout, Durov has described himself as a defender of privacy, repeatedly arguing that Telegram stands for freedom and privacy despite mounting pressure from governments. Now, the real issue isn't just the charges, it's control. You see, Telegram is widely used inside Russia, including by government officials themselves. But Moscow has recently moved to slow the app and is trying to push people towards a state-backed alternative called Max. Now, Russia says it's about national security. Critics say it's about moving its citizens onto a platform that the state can easily monitor. And so if that shift succeeds, it won't just affect Russia, it could redefine how much independence these encrypted apps are actually allowed to have. So if he wants to design a week that would rattle investors, you'd struggle to do better than SPAR. You see, its share price is back at levels last seen in 2010. Its CEO has recently stepped down and has even asked some suppliers to wait a little longer for part of their payments. Now, that combination has fueled talks that the retailer is in deeper trouble than it's admitting. But the full picture is more complicated than a simple collapse narrative. So operationally, SPAR is under strain. Sales growth has been muted, margins have been squeezed by a combination of heavy promotions and low food inflation, and the group is still dealing with that fallout from its troubled SAP rollout in KZN, including a 168 million rand lawsuit tied to that failed implementation. It recently asked some KZN suppliers to stagger February payments, which immediately triggered a cash crunch speculation among some analysts. Now, SPAR says that's the wrong read. It insists that that payment plan was voluntary, limited, and part of normal cash flow management, something that large retailers commonly do. Former CEO Angelo Swartz, who resigned last week citing personal toll of leading a complex turnaround, had described the reset as exceptionally demanding. And so the real test now is whether the new leadership can steady things before the pressure turns into something that's a lot harder to fix. And before we cruise on to our bagel bite of the day, here's a couple other headlines worth knowing. For starters, South Africa recorded over 235,000 overseas visitors in January 2026, up nearly 12% year on year, with sharp increases in Russia and Brazil, even as Chinese tourists dropped 34%. Mr. Price has cleared all regulatory hurdles for its highly contested 9.6 billion rand acquisition of German retailer NKD, with the deal set to close on the 31st of March, a move that transforms the group from a regional player into an international contender. And a fire at Cape Town International Airport knocked out key IT systems, diverted international flights, and left more than 4,000 passengers queuing for manual check-in, raising fresh questions about infrastructure resilience at one of South Africa's busiest tourism gateways. And just a quick side note, if you're enjoying today's show, please can I ask that you like and subscribe. It goes a long way. Furthermore, if you haven't done so already, be sure to join our WhatsApp channel where we will send you a daily message with a link to today's show so you never miss it. The link to that is either in our description below or our bio. Get involved. And on to our bagel bite of the day. Let's see what you got. The question is, what is the longest running Broadway show in history? Is it A, Cats, B, Phantom of the Opera, or C, Chicago? We'll give you the answer at the end of the show. For the first time in over a century, scientists have discovered a brand new species of Spinosaurus. And this one came with a 50-centimeter blade sticking out of its head. You see, the fossil was found deep in the Sahara Desert, and the team behind it named it Spinosaurus mirabilis, roughly meaning astonishing spine lizard, which feels fair. Now, here's what makes it wild. This thing was about 12 meters long, weighed up to 7 tons, and hunted fish in shallow rivers roughly 95 million years ago. Now, unlike earlier theories that painted the Spinosaurus as a fully aquatic pursuit predator, this species appeared to have thrived in shallow water. Its long snout and interlocking teeth were adapted to trap slippery fish, but its anatomy suggests it would likely wade rather than swim long distances. Researchers even named it the Hull Heron. As for that crest in its head, researchers believed it was likely covered in keratin, the same material found in your fingernails, and possibly bright colored too. It was probably too fragile to use as a weapon though. Instead, it would have been used for display, attracting mates, signaling dominance, or simply standing out. So yeah, even 95 million years ago, image clearly mattered. And as for that bagel bite, the answer is the Phantom of the Opera, which ran for 35 years with, get this, 13,981 performances. So to put that into perspective, that's roughly 8 shows a week for 3.5 decades. That alone deserves a standing ovation. And my friends, that's it for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, this is just your reminder to join that WhatsApp channel if you haven't done so already. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day further. Be kind to one another, and we'll catch you all tomorrow for the next round of the good stuff. God bless.